In the future, human souls are stored on digital drives, and bodies have become nothing more than skins that humans shed when they die, only to be downloaded into a different body. A man named Takeshi Kovacs is lying on the bed while his partner cleans up stacks, which are digital drives that contain the souls of human beings. Takeshi and his partner are preparing to sell the stacks for money. Takeshi touches the window, and the view changes to a city with 2 planets in the sky, revealing that he isn't on Earth. His partner asks him if he knows the people stored on these stacks, but Takeshi says that he doesn't care. He just cares about getting paid. Then, Takeshi, whose body has the ability to see through walls, sees that a team of soldiers is coming to arrest them. The team blows up the wall, and Takeshi and his partner are thrown back. In the present, Takeshi is uploaded into a new body by a team of professionals. A body is referred to as a sleeve. As he is being re-sleeved, Takeshi has flashbacks of his last death, and his body violently shakes. The professionals say this is normal if a person's last sleeve dies violently. However, Takeshi goes a step ahead by punching the professionals. In the flashback, Takeshi and his partner barely fight off the team of soldiers. In the present, Takeshi demands to know how long it has been since his last death, and he is informed that 250 years have passed. He demands to see a mirror, and in it, he still sees his last sleeve for a minute, before adjusting to the new one. Takeshi asks what planet he is on, and he is told that he is on Earth. Next, Takeshi and all the others who have been re-sleeved take a shower and attend a briefing, in which it is explained that all the humans living in the multi-planetary empire called the Protectorate are fitted with a stack from the age of 1. The stacks contain the entirety of a human mind and consciousness. The stacks can be placed in any body, and a person only truly dies when their stack is destroyed. Takeshi's flashback continues, and in it, his partner is killed. A soldier named Jaeger tells Takeshi that he is under arrest for working with the terrorist organization leader named Christ Falconer. Jaeger proceeds to blow Takeshi's partner's stack out before killing Takeshi as well. In the present, a prison warden reads Takeshi's crimes in previous lives, and they are all of a severe and international nature. He tells Takeshi that his sentence says that he is never to be re-sleeved. However, he has been downloaded into a new body because he's been leased by an incredibly wealthy man called Lawrence Bancroft. As such, he is the property of Bancroft, and not a free man. Furthermore, if he breaks any law in his time out, he will immediately be returned here and de-sleeved again. Next, Takeshi walks out and is greeted by a woman named Kristen Ortega, who says that she will be driving him to Lawrence Bancroft's house. On the way out, Takeshi notices that a young girl who died in a car crash has been re-sleeved into an old woman's body, and her parents are furious. Kristen explains to him that people who die in accidents are guaranteed a free new sleeve by the state, but since it's free, the people don't get a choice in what the sleeve looks like. That's why poor people don't get much choice of what body they are reborn into, or if they are reborn at all. Outside, Takeshi walks through religious protesters who are against re-sleeving because it is unnatural. Their argument is countered by people who say that if someone is murdered, they should be brought back in order to identify their killer and serve them justice. On the way to Lauren's house, Kristen asks Takeshi several questions about himself, but he only gives vague answers, much to Kristen's annoyance. Lauren's house, like all the other ultra-wealthy, is high up above the clouds. Kristen reveals to Takeshi that Lawrence is a Methuselah or Meth, which is a name given to the wealthiest people on Earth who've lived for over 300 years. As they land at Lauren's house, Kristen reveals that she is not really a driver for Lawrence, but a detective. She asks for Takeshi's name, and when she looks him up, she realizes that he is an envoy, a member of an elite squad of soldiers that worked for Christ Falconer. She doesn't understand because, to her knowledge, all envoys died when Falconer's uprising against the Protectorate failed 200 years ago. Lauren's wife Miriam arrives and takes Takeshi inside to meet Lawrence. Takeshi meets Lawrence, who appears to be a fan of Falconer, and the way she trained the envoys. He says he has great respect for envoys, who were the most elite soldiers with incredible intuition, adaptation, and combat abilities. Takeshi is not interested in his compliments, because the idea of infinite re-sleeving, and the wealthy living centuries while the poor suffered, is precisely what Falconer and the envoys fought against. However, they lost, so now they are portrayed as terrorists by the Protectorate. Lawrence offers Takeshi a deal. He says that he will have the president of the Protectorate give Takeshi a full pardon, and he will personally pay Takeshi a huge sum of money, more than enough to set up his future, and all Takeshi has to do in return is solve the case of a murder. Takeshi asks whose murder he has to investigate, and Lawrence replies that it is his, and proceeds to reveal a bloodied wall. Lawrence tells Takeshi that a while ago, Miriam found his body in this room with his head completely vaporized. The kind of weapon capable of doing such a thing is kept in a biometrically locked vault that only Lawrence or Miriam could open. Takeshi says that Lawrence is still alive, which means that his stack wasn't destroyed, so he must have a memory of how it happened. Lawrence replies that his stack was indeed destroyed, but he keeps a remote backup of his stack on a satellite, which is how he is still alive. However, the satellite is backed up every 48 hours, and whoever blew his head up did it 10 minutes before the next backup was due, so he has no memories of the 48 hours that led up to his death, because they never got backed up. Takeshi says it's perfectly likely he tried to kill himself, or his wife tried to kill him, but Lawrence is certain that is not the case. He says that someone wants him dead, and he needs Takeshi to investigate it. Takeshi refuses the case and asks to be de-sleeved. Lawrence tells Takeshi to take a day and mull it over. He tells Takeshi to go out into the city and remember what it is like to be alive again before he makes his final choice. Next, Takeshi sits at the edge of the city and hallucinates his late sister. He tells her hopelessly that the world is owned and controlled by the rich, just like Falconer warned them it would be. He says that he will just spend this night indulging in his vices and get de-sleeved again. Next, he buys some drugs and plans to visit some brothels when he runs into Kristen, who asks to have a drink with him. During his conversation with Kristen, he uses his envoy intuition to deduce that she was handed the Lawrence case first, and she couldn't solve it. She reveals that Lawrence had her reprimanded for it, which hurt her career, and that is why she has a personal problem with him and all the rich folks living in the sky. Takeshi tells her that he turned down Lawrence's offer, and she is surprised. Then, Takeshi asks her if she wants to help him get the sexual release he wants, and she declines the offer. Takeshi says he will be going down to a hotel that he saw in an ad which offers prostitutes. Kristen warns him that those hotels are run by AI, and the AI is hardwired to want and serve guests. Once he stays there, the AI will become like a stalker for him. Takeshi doesn't much care. He arrives at the hotel, and the AI manager offers him anything and everything that he may need for his sexual tastes. Just then, a gang of thugs arrives and tries to kill Takeshi. Takeshi uses his envoy intuition once more and realizes that the AI hotel is equipped to protect its guests at all costs. He makes the payment mid-fight, and the AI whips out heavy artillery to defend him, killing all the thugs. Kristen arrives at the scene and tells Takeshi that these men were working for Dmitry Kadman, a renowned hitman. Takeshi says that this means Lawrence didn't kill himself because someone clearly does not want him to investigate the case. Next, Takeshi sits in an empty alley and contemplates suicide. He sees a hallucination of Falconer, and he tells her that he doesn't know how to live in a world without her. Falconer says that this is his chance to finish the mission she trained him to do. Takeshi contemplates the possibility and then calls Lawrence and tells him that he will take the case. At night, Takeshi has a nightmare about how the uprising ended in front of his eyes. He wakes up and sees the hotel AI, whose name is Poe, standing in his room with a woman. The woman is named Prescott, and she works for Lawrence. She has arrived to assist Takeshi. Meanwhile, Kristen wakes up in her room and it is revealed that she is tracking Takeshi. Takeshi arrives at a company called Psychosec with Prescott. The company creates sleeves that are clones of the body people were originally born with. Clones are highly expensive, so only the wealthiest can buy them. The rest of the population re-sleeves into whatever body they can afford, if they can afford to be re-sleeved, to begin with. Takeshi says that he's heard if people re-sleeve too many times, they have a tendency to go insane, and insinuates that could have happened to Lawrence. However, the Psychosec employee informs him that that only happens to people who re-sleeve into different bodies. It doesn't happen in clones. While Takeshi continues his detective work, Lawrence and Miriam arrive. Takeshi questions Lawrence harshly, and Lawrence does not appreciate it. He tries to reprimand Takeshi, but Takeshi makes it clear that this is how he works. Back at his hotel room, Takeshi asks Prescott to send him any death threats that Lawrence has received, and he finds that there are thousands. He remembers Falconer's teaching that rage at injustice is universal, but the ability to fight back isn't. So he singles out threats by those with military experience. Then he remembers Falconer taught him that violence is always personal, at its heart. So he selects a threat by a man who says he will kill Lawrence to avenge his little girl, Lizzie. The threat video shows a gun, and Takeshi zooms into it. He reads the serial number on the gun and tracks the owner down. The owner is named Vernon Elliott, who lives in the poorest part of town. Takeshi arrives at his place to question him, but Vernon does not cooperate. Takeshi easily defeats him in a fight and ties him to a chair. Takeshi looks around the house and finds a virtual reality headset. He realizes that Vernon does not have the resources to have his daughter Lizzie reborn, so he is visiting her in VR using her stack. Takeshi puts on the headset and finds a severely traumatized Lizzie lying outside a brothel. He takes the headset off and lashes out at Vernon for making his daughter relive her last traumatic memories again and again. Vernon says that it's the only way he can see her. Takeshi asks Vernon why he thinks Lawrence killed Lizzie, and Vernon replies that Lawrence was seeing Lizzie. He told her that she was special and he needed her, and then she ended up dead. Takeshi deduces that Vernon wasn't the one to try and kill Lawrence because his daughter is technically still alive, and if he did kill Lawrence, someone would kill him, leaving his daughter alone in the world. Vernon wouldn't risk that. He leaves. Next, Takeshi arrives at a museum that has an exhibit about Falconer's uprising. He is devastated to see that the exhibit depicts her and the envoys as some kind of vicious terrorists who killed women and children, even though in reality they were the ones fighting against the injustice and cruelty of the Protectorate. Takeshi goes to the brothel that he saw in the VR and questions a prostitute about Lizzie who used to work here. He asks the prostitute if Lizzie had a regular, and she says yes. Lizzie was frequently requested by a meth. Takeshi deduces that she means Lawrence. The prostitute reveals that Lawrence likes to choke the prostitutes, but if they accidentally die, he always buys them a new and upgraded sleeve. Takeshi requests her to ask around and find out anything she can about Lizzie. Next, Takeshi steps out of the brothel and finds that Vernon is standing outside with a gun. However, before he can make a move, a bunch of thugs arrive again and attack Takeshi. Takeshi and Vernon together manage to subdue the thugs, but before they can leave, Kristen arrives and arrests Takeshi. In jail, Kristen asks Takeshi why he works for Lawrence when he knows what he is. Takeshi says that before he was an envoy, he did the Protectorate's dirty work, so he is comfortable in this role. Prescott arrives, reprimands a very annoyed Kristen, and frees Takeshi. Takeshi returns to his hotel room and finds that Miriam is there. She pretends to be interested in the case for just a minute, before revealing her true intentions by undressing Takeshi. Miriam and Takeshi proceed to make passionate love, but unbeknownst to them, there is a bug in the room, and they are being watched. The next morning, Poe arrives and tells Takeshi that he has been invited to a dinner party at Lauren's house. He also informs Takeshi that he has discovered a bug in the room, which has recorded footage of his passionate night with Miriam. Takeshi panics. Lawrence calls Takeshi and tells him that the dinner party is just a ruse. He's invited everyone that he thinks might have a reason to kill him to this party, and he wants Takeshi to surreptitiously interrogate them. Lawrence's tone hints that he is aware of Takeshi and Miriam's night together, and Takeshi decides that he needs backup. He asks Poe if he can assimilate psychosurgery protocols into himself, since he is an AI, and Poe replies that he just did it, in an instant. Prescott arrives at the police station and tells Kristen that she has been specifically requested to be among the security forces for tonight's dinner party at Lauren's place. Kristen does not want to do it, but her captain tells her that she does not have a choice. Takeshi arrives at Vernon's place and offers him a deal. He says that he will help Lizzie, and if he discovers that Lawrence is behind her death, he will even help Vernon kill Lawrence, and in return, he needs Vernon to be his backup. Vernon asks Takeshi how he will help Lizzie. Vernon and Takeshi arrive at the hotel, and Poe gets to work on helping Lizzie in a virtual reality suite using his newly acquired psychosurgery protocol. His treatment appears to be effective, but it will take time. In the meanwhile, Vernon and Takeshi go to the black market to pick up some weaponry. Next, Takeshi arrives at the dinner party, and Vernon is there disguised as a waiter. Kristen arrives and checks on the party's entertainment, who are a married couple that fight each other to sleeve death. As a reward, they are reborn into upgraded sleeves. Both Kristen and Takeshi find it disturbing. Lawrence catches up to Takeshi and reminds him to do his job. Takeshi proceeds to interrogate several party guests, but none of them appear to be interested in harming Lawrence. Next, Takeshi sees Miriam walking into a secret room, and he follows her. In the room, he finds her getting plowed by one of Lauren's security guards. His envoy intuition tells him that this isn't Miriam, and he is correct. It is one of Lauren's daughters named Naomi, using Miriam's sleeve. Naomi says Miriam's sleeves are one of a kind, so she likes to have fun in them. Takeshi says that the weapon that vaporized Lauren's head was locked in a safe that only he or Miriam could open, but he hadn't considered that one of Lawrence's children could wear Miriam's sleeve and open the safe as well. Naomi debunks his theory. She says that Lawrence's will clearly states that if he dies, his family does not get a single penny from his fortune. Hence, none of his children or his wife would risk killing him. Next, all the guests at the party are asked to share one unique object they own that they have brought with them tonight. And Lawrence reveals that his object is Takeshi, the last living envoy. Takeshi realizes his position in this world and gets uncomfortable. All the guests at the party arrive to see the entertainment, the couple fighting to the death in zero gravity. As they brutalize each other, the meths all watch and laugh, and Takeshi can't take it. He interferes. Lawrence offers both fighters an even greater reward if they can kill Takeshi, and he is dragged into the fight. He calls Vernon for help, but Vernon has slipped off to do a mission of his own. He is downloading surveillance files from Lawrence's database of the night that Lizzie died. Takeshi is having a difficult time against the two fighters in zero gravity, and Kristen stops the contest and saves him. After the party ends, Takeshi speaks with Lawrence, who tells Takeshi that he knows about him and Miriam. He warns Takeshi to never come anywhere near his wife ever again. Next, Takeshi arrives at the brothel to speak to the prostitute again, but she appears bruised and beaten up. She apologizes to Takeshi and proceeds to stick him with a sedative. Takeshi passes out, and when he wakes up, he finds that he has been kidnapped by the same thugs from earlier. One of the thugs notices that he is awakening and hits him with another dose of the sedative, knocking him out. Altered Carbon was a well-received show among audiences and critics alike, praised for its complex narratives, world-building, and exploration of themes like identity, consciousness, and the consequences of unchecked technological advancement. The first season of the show generated much excitement, which faded somewhat in consequent seasons. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.